"You were always just the backup," Dad said, without flinching. Mom didn't even look at me, just nodded slowly, like it was some self-evident truth. I was 12. My older brother Caleb had just won some statewide math competition, and they were hosting a small celebration dinner for him at home. I'd brought home an art project I was proud of, a little sculpture I'd made of our dog, Max. I tried to show it to them, thinking they'd smile or say something kind. Instead, Dad pushed it aside like it was in the way of Caleb's trophy. That's when he said it. Said I was the backup plan. I didn't know what it meant then, not really, but I never forgot it. As the years went by, it became painfully obvious what that sentence meant. Caleb got everything. Extra tutoring, summer programs, new clothes, even a used car on his 16th birthday. I got hand-me-downs and lectures. When I got into college on a partial scholarship, Dad said, "It's good that you're finally pulling your weight." Caleb, of course, had his tuition fully paid by them without question. I kept my head down. I studied, I worked part-time, I never asked for help. I wanted to believe if I just did well enough, I could earn their respect. Maybe even their love. But that day never came. Caleb became a lawyer, then a partner at some boutique firm, the Golden Boy. Meanwhile, I got my degree in computer science, moved to a different state, and took a job at a small but promising startup. It wasn't flashy, but it was mine. And slowly, things started clicking. My app, just a side project at first, blew up one summer after a viral tweet. Investors started calling. I quit my job and went all in. 2 years later, I sold the company for just under $12 million. I didn't tell anyone. I changed my number, I bought a house with a view of the mountains, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I mattered. To myself, not to them. Then, last year, I got a letter, handwritten, from Mom. "Caleb made some bad investments. We're struggling to help him. We hope you're doing okay and would love to catch up soon." I stared at the words. No apology, no mention of the years they ignored me, just a polite request disguised as small talk. I didn't reply. I shredded the letter and poured myself a drink. But I knew this wasn't over. Not even close. Because people like them, they don't come crawling unless they need something. And they clearly needed me now.
It started with an email. "Hey, bud," it said, like we were ever close. Dad's name sat at the top, like a ghost from my past. "We were wondering if you could come down for a weekend. Caleb's in a rough spot, and we thought maybe a little family time would be good for all of us." No mention of their years of silence, no mention of Mom's letter I'd never responded to. I didn't answer. A few days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I don't usually pick those up, but for some reason I did. "Hey, it's Caleb," the voice said. "Look, I know it's been a while. Mom and Dad really want to see you." "So do I." I almost laughed. This was the guy who used to call me extra baggage when he thought I couldn't hear. "You doing okay?" he asked. I said nothing. "Okay, fine," he sighed. "I'll get to the point. I made some bad investments, all right? And Mom and Dad, they've been helping me out. But they're kind of strapped now. We could use a hand." There it was. Not a call for reconciliation, a plea for money. "What happened to that 6-figure salary of yours?" I asked. "Crypto," he said. "It was going up." Until it wasn't. I said I'd think about it and hung up. But I didn't think about it. Not really. Instead, I booked a flight home. Not to help, but to see for myself. I hadn't been back in over a decade. The old house looked smaller than I remembered. Mom answered the door with fake surprise, like she hadn't expected me even though I told her when I was landing. "Look at you," she said, her eyes scanning my watch, my jacket, my shoes. "You've done well." "You were always the smart one," Dad said, pulling me in for a hug like he hadn't called me a burden for the first 18 years of my life. Dinner was awkward. Caleb looked thinner, stressed. I didn't care. I ate slowly, quietly, listening. We were thinking, Dad said finally. "With your success and all, maybe you could help Caleb get back on his feet. Just a small loan. Family helping family." I set down my fork. "Did you help me get on my feet?" Silence. "No. You told me I was the backup plan." Dad rubbed his temples. "We were hard on you. We didn't realize." "No, I cut him off. You realized. You just didn't care." Mom tried to speak, but I stood up. "I'm not your ATM. I'm not your bailout. I'm not your second chance. I came here to see it with my own eyes. Now I have." Caleb's face turned red. "You'd really let your own brother drown?" "You're not drowning. You're just not winning anymore." Then I left. I went back to my rental car, slammed the door, and drove. I didn't look back. Not yet. But I knew they would. They always do, when they want something. And this time, I was ready.
I didn't hear from them for 2 weeks. Then a letter showed up at my office. Handwritten, thick paper, Mom's cursive. "You wouldn't be where you are without the foundation we gave you," it said. "We sacrificed so much for you, and this is how you repay us? By abandoning your family in our time of need?" I crumpled it and threw it out. They were rewriting history now. I owed them? For what? Meals they resented feeding me? Clothes they reminded me were Caleb's hand-me-downs? No, I owed them nothing. But they weren't done. A call from a lawyer came next. "Just informing you of your parents' updated estate plans. They've decided to make Caleb the sole beneficiary." I laughed. "That's fine," I said. "They already gave him everything when it mattered." But it still stung. Not because I wanted the money, but because it proved they never saw me as part of their legacy. Just the kid they had because the first one wasn't enough. Still, I stayed quiet until I found out what they were really doing. They were selling the house. The one I helped renovate during college. The one where I'd tiled the bathroom floor with my own hands. And they didn't even tell me. I read about it in a local listing. Asking price, nearly $1 million. That's when I decided I wasn't going to stay quiet anymore. I had the money, I had the resources, I had the patience. If they wanted a war for the legacy, they'd get one. But not the way they expected. I didn't confront them. Not directly. I went quiet again. But this time, I was working. I called the real estate agent behind the listing, used a different name, made a full cash offer slightly above asking, with one condition. The sellers couldn't know who was buying. The deal closed in a week. Just like that, the house was mine. I didn't move in. I didn't even visit. I just waited. 2 weeks later, Caleb showed up at my office. No appointment. Just stormed in, red-faced, holding a letter. "Did you buy Mom and Dad's house?" he barked. I looked up from my desk. "Nice to see you too, Caleb." He slapped the envelope down. "They're freaking out. Said the sale went through, and now some investor owns it. Did you really do it?" I smiled. "Why would I tell you if I did?" "Because they're living in a rental now," he shouted. "They used the money to pay off their debts, and now they have nothing." I shrugged. "Sounds like poor planning." He was furious. "You're punishing them because they left you out of the will?" "No," I said, standing. "I'm reminding them that I was never the backup plan. I was the only one who ever gave a damn, and they spat in my face." He didn't get it. I could see it in his eyes. He was still the golden boy, still confused that life had consequences. Later that night, I got a voicemail. It was Mom. "We know it was you. You've made your point. Can we please talk?" A few months passed. I never returned the calls. Not from Mom, not from Caleb, not even from Dad, who left me a shaky voicemail saying, "We miss you, son." It didn't matter anymore. I had bought more than just their house. I bought the silence I'd earned. The legacy they denied me, I reclaimed it my way.
The story didn't end there, though. Caleb tried to get back into my life when his marriage fell apart and he needed help. "You've got money, man," he said in a casual text. "Let's put the past behind us." I didn't respond. He followed up with a photo. Us as kids. I blocked him. "My parents sent me a letter for my birthday, handwritten. We're sorry for how things turned out," it said. "We were just trying to make the best decision for the family." No apology, just regret that their plan didn't work. I didn't answer. I kept building my life. I bought a lake house, adopted a dog. I started laughing again. Sometimes, late at night, I'd wonder, what if they had chosen differently? What if they just loved me equally? But then I remembered Dad's voice. "You were always the backup plan." And Mom's nod. That truth was carved into me like stone. So no, I didn't forgive them, and I never looked back. The day I drove past their tiny rented apartment and saw Caleb's old truck in the driveway, I didn't stop. I just kept going. Because now, finally, I was free.